I first became really interested in the area of how reliable hair strand testing is when I was instructed on a case where my client swore blind he had not used crack cocaine. He was black, he had dreadlocks, and the testing company said that he was used crack cocaine at a high level. And I met him in conference and he denied it. He was caring for his older daughter very well, no concerns about care. But because of this drug result, the local authority, the parenting assessor, and the guardian were all saying this little boy needs to be adopted on the basis of these drug results alone. So it's a single issue case. And I felt, as his lawyer, I needed to do all that I could to challenge this evidence. So I got permission to cross-examine the author of this so-called expert report. And I started reading the research and drilling down into the research. And I found so many papers that indicated to me that hair strand testing, there was a racial bias, racist, that there were a number of factors that could explain why this substance that was found in his hair was a result of something as innocent as heat treatment rather than as a result of him smoking crack cocaine. And I took all those papers to court. I cross-examined the expert. I secured a nail sample test, which demonstrated there was no cocaine in the nail. And as a result of that successful challenge, the child went to my client and was not adopted. I'm not an expert in toxicologist. I expect the expert to tell me about this research and me not have to find it in order to challenge it. It started making me quite worried about miscarriages of justice up and down the country where people might not be prepared to go down the rabbit hole I went down, 2 days of reading scientific papers about this evidence, that we really needed to be getting the message out there about how to challenge this evidence and how reliable it really is.
If we take cannabis, for example, testing hair samples for cannabis users, known cannabis users, declared regular users of cannabis, around 60 to 65% of samples that get tested in these regular users of cannabis would be reported presently by applying the cutoff as negative or not detected. If we're looking at cocaine, people who are not using cocaine, for example, typically around about 20% of cases will be deemed to be positive despite the fact that they're not using it. And it's explained by a number of factors. It can be contamination from their partner. It can be because 6-7 months ago, they were using cocaine. But for 2, 3, 4, 5 months after cessation of using cocaine, by applying a threshold because the levels were so high when they were using, they will be deemed to be positive, despite no use of cocaine at all. And there are numerous factors because of this complex biology of the hair that will end up in accusing somebody of using heroin, using cocaine, using amphetamine, when they simply haven't during that particular period.
There's this table which shows the results of 3,000 users and what happens to the results when a cutoff level is applied. And you only need to see this to really question when a sample study of 3,000 shows that 18% of people will be found to have used cocaine, positive for cocaine, when they haven't. Just that statistic alone is enough to show why cutoff levels are dangerous. Because when you're talking about whether a parent is safe to care for a child and the use of drugs means that they're not safe, 18% of that cohort are wrongly accused of using drugs and lying about it because they're saying, I'm not using cocaine, and they're right about that, but the results say something differently because of the flawed way of analysing the drugs found in their hair. You need nothing else. I mean, that is compelling evidence to show that cut-off levels are dangerous and lead to miscarriages of justice.
In this particular instance, when we tested a nail, there was no evidence going back almost 13 months with a large toenail, and yet levels suggested from the hairstyle test would suggest this person was a very chronic user of that particular compound.
So someone within care proceedings who may have turned their life around, engaging with drug services, abstaining from using cocaine in order to maintain the care of their child and demonstrate change, with the application of the cutoff level, will be told you're still using cocaine and you're lying about it. For example, if you're using hair straighteners and you're moving hair up and down the shaft, or if you're taking cannabis, for example, because cannabis is incorporated into the hair in a different way from many other drugs.
The segment that you test doesn't bear much resemblance to the amount of cannabis use that occurred during that period that piece of hair you think represents.
Many of the papers that I found and relied on successfully in this case, and some others, are available on our website if anyone is looking for resources to help them challenge this evidence.